How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Today we're diving into full hookups on your own property for your RV. The three main big ones, whether you want to be able to use your RV as a guest house or be able to use it for prepping for trips or just general use for the RV. It's extremely handy to have. So we're going to show you what we have done and cheaper budget options that are going to get you just as close. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. So now to start off, there's three main elements when looking at setting up full hookups on your own property. We all know them. They're water, sewer, and power. We set ours up like an RV park. You don't have to go that extreme. There's definitely options along the way. So I'll show you ours and the couple of things that I would actually like to change about it. But let's start off with number one being electrical. We'll look at the options and look at how to actually wire it. So now here's option number one. If you have a 50 amp RV, this is a 50 amp electrical box. So you look inside there, you see the outlet for a 50 amp RV. This was kind of a fun little find. I liked this one better than the ones that I found at Lowe's and Home Depot because of the depth of the box. So when you go to plug in your cord, surge protector, or adapter, you have the depth in order to close that lid completely on the front. Compared to other ones, usually it's pretty shallow and you can't fully get that lid closed once you have it plugged in. I'll show you how easy it is to wire this up, but a very popular option out there is to wire it with a 30 amp box instead, even if you have a 50 amp RV, because it's going to be a lot cheaper in order to do this, depending on how far your run is for the wire. The wire is going to be a big difference. Let me practically show you how to wire up these because it doesn't take long and it's a pretty quick process. So on a 50 amp outlet, we have a black, which is going to be a hot lead, a red, which is going to be a hot lead. Our white is the neutral and the green is the ground, or our bare wire. On the back of this outlet, we have the two hot leads clearly indicated. So we're going to connect the black and our red hot lead. Those are going to be on both sides of the outlet. Then we have our neutral that's going to be down on the other end. Again, tightening that down. And then our ground actually connects to a little bar in the back of the box that connects that wire to the outlet. That way the box and the outlet will be grounded when we connect our ground. Then switching over to make the connections in the breaker panel, always shutting off the power, because this stuff is actually pretty dangerous if you don't turn it off. So we can connect to our ground bus bar with our ground wire. We can take our white neutral wire and connect it to the white bus bar. And then our breaker is a 2-pole breaker, which gives us our black and our red wire connected to the breaker. And then that breaker slides and clicks into place. So that's the connections on a 50 amp outlet. If we slide over and look at a 30 amp outlet, you're going to see that wire size change considerably from the 50 amp outlet to a 30 amp outlet. And we go down to one hot leg instead of two hot legs. So again, black is going to be our hot leg for the 30 amp outlet. Our white again is going to be the neutral and our ground is going to be the green or the bare wire. And then into the breaker box, again, shutting off the power, we're going to connect the ground to the ground bus bar, the white to the neutral bus bar, and then our black wire is going to connect to a single breaker. So again, tightening the wire down into there, sliding that breaker into place and clicking it in. One thing that I think a lot of people miss out there when setting this up at home is the wire size. The wire size is a big deal. And so on this outlet that we're doing at this house, we used 6-gauge wire because the run wasn't crazy long. But for us in our RV and our pedestal, because it was such a long distance, we ran 4-gauge wire because you can have voltage drop. So that's why a lot of people will go with a 30 amp outlet instead of a 50 amp one because of that wire size. The farther you get, the larger the wire is, the more expensive it is for the length that you're going. So you're adding length, you're adding wire size, and it gets more expensive increasingly as that distance increases. So if you go with a 30 amp outlet, you're kind of dropping that whole requirement of needing larger wire right out the get-go. So it's not going to be quite as expensive as if you're doing a 50 amp outlet. So that wire size is really going to be crucial so that you don't have voltage drop going to the RV, because that's one of the things that we guard against at RV parks that can be so destructive is that low voltage. We wouldn't want to create the very thing that we would complain about and guard against at RV parks of low low voltage, which brings us to today's sponsor, which is Waggle, because that's a device that you can help detect if you have a power outage or if the temperature is getting too hot inside your RV, which are two really important things you'd want to know if you have a pet inside the RV. Now, as far as pets, it's been a pretty sad week for us. Mobrick passed away. That was our cat. She was so much fun to have around. Such a good travel pet. I love cats and dogs, and I think cats are really underrated for how easy they are to travel with, but you always want to protect your pet the best that you possibly can, and having a pet monitor is probably one of the easiest things you can do to make sure that they're going to be safe when you're away, with checking things like temperature, humidity, air quality, geofencing, all the things that come along with that, or even just being able to get a camera to be able to check on your pet inside the RV when you're away. And with it being battery powered and cell-based, it's not dependent on campground Wi-Fi or power. So having that protection and detection for electrical problems. So links will be down in the description and in that first comment with the discount codes. Okay, so now let's move on to the next thing that's really convenient to have at the house, and that's being able to have a sewer connection to get rid of our drain water from the RV. So now our sewer connection is actually one of two things that I wish I would have done just a little bit different, but our setup is still on the extreme side of things. So we're going to start with that and then go to what's more typical out there and going to be absolutely more practical. But what we did here is we connected into our sewer system or our septic system, and we stubbed over here with a 3-inch pipe, which is great because this can work with a 3-inch pipe. And this is really splitting hairs, but I actually wish that I would have made this inlet a 4-inch pipe. So one this size rather than the 3-inch. And this is typically what you're going to see at RV parks. So when you usually take your adapter and put it in there, you can thread it right in. That's the typical size that we're used to. The RV Sewer Adapter Pro is going to fit right in there, compared to it's not going to work on a 3-inch. It's not a big deal. I was just trying to make this as close as possible to what you would have at an RV park. So if that's your goal, to try and get as close as you can to that, you're going to be looking for a 4-inch connection. Now, what's most typical for people to use at their house in order to have a sewer connection is to use their cleanouts. But you need to be careful because some of those will have backflow preventers in them. So you need to make sure that you're connecting in to the right side. So where we were putting that 50 amp connection, there's also a sewer cleanout that's going to be used. So just like we do here, being able to thread into that 3-inch pipe is going to make that usable. Just a little side note, if you're trying to do something like this at your house, you should always try and verify the equipment and what you have, because not every single clean out is one that you should be dumping into. And so you always want to verify that the system that you have is going to be available in order to do something like this. Now, a macerator can be used almost like a cheat code, because you can pump uphill, you can pump greater distances, farther than would be practical to set up your normal hoses. You can do that with a macerator. The macerator is great and can really make up a lot of distance, but this is definitely a lot easier, having it right next to the RV and being able to dump. But last on our list is our water connection. We put in a hydrant out here because we wanted to be able to have water year round without kind of shutting off this entire end of things. The shutoff for the hydrant is underground, so you can have water at this location year round and have that shutoff be below ground. That's why you see this so much at RV parks. But if you're just trying to get water to your RV, sometimes more hoses is just an easier solution rather than having to plumb and pipe everything over here to have a hydrant. But if your goal is to set up like an RV site like we did, then this is a great option. This is the other little thing that I would have changed when I was laying things out. I was thinking of opening the electric door this way, but then that would have opened into the RV. I just would have put the water behind the electric, so that way as this opens, you're not kind of like gaggled up in here with the hydrant and the electric. There's plenty of space. It's not really a big deal, but if I was doing it over again, I would have put the water on the other side of the electric pedestal. Now, something that I really liked about our electrical setup is that it's as close to a legitimate campsite as you can possibly get. You have your 50, you have your 30, you have your 20 in here, and you have your breakers in here. And that's something that I really liked about this setup, is that when you're plugging and unplugging, you should turn that breaker off. And with that all right here in one central location where you're going to be plugging in is really convenient. So I'm going to put a link down in the description to this, and everything that we talked about in this video will be down in the description and in that first comment. But this is really just kind of a entry or crash course into setting up these connections for your RV. There's so many other things to consider and rabbit trails to run down. What type of wire? Is it going to be direct burial? Is it going to go into conduit? What are your other conditions? There's just a lot of other things to consider, but these are the main things of what you'd want to look at in order to set up full hookups for your RV at your house or your property. So I think that's going to do it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope that it helped you out in some way. So as always, if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video. Take care.